This man's name is Michael Atkinson. He is an adventurer, filmmaker, and former military pilot. He spent a great deal of his life in the Australian Defence Force, where he not only flew planes, but he also learned survival techniques. Those who work at the risk of their lives every day. But there comes a time when just learning or teaching is not enough. Then people want to test their own limits, and that's exactly what Michael did. He decided to make a small boat with his own hands from the thick trunk of a huge tree. Build it. Not only will you build it, but you will also sail 1,500 kilometers alone along Australia's Great Barrier Reef. As crazy as it sounds, it's actually much harder than that, because it's not a modern boat. It's a dugout boat, which is made from just a tree trunk. This method has been used for thousands of years in various cultures around the world. Back then, there were no machines. There were no modern tools, just handwork and infinite patience. Although the process of building a boat may seem simple, it is actually a very precise one. The wood inside a tree is slowly removed. But the outer part is kept intact because that outer shell becomes the main body of the boat, which will float on the water. And this is where the biggest risk lies, because if you cut a little more, the wood will become weak. And if you cut less, the boat will become heavy. It will not float properly. That means every blow, every stroke, every decision. Life is as important as death. The greatest strength of this dugout boat is its simplicity. There are no separate parts, no joints, made from a single log, and that makes it incredibly strong, durable, and long-lasting. Boats like this have been used throughout history, for transportation, fishing, and even for war. But one thing was always different was the design. Because people in each region built boats according to their environment. Some were the rough sea, some were fast-flowing rivers, and some were calm canals. So the size, weight, structure of the boat changed everything that environment. According to the wood that Michael has chosen is not an ordinary wood. It is a Norfolk pine trunk weighing about 4 tons. This tree is found on Norfolk Island in the South Pacific, and its biggest feature is that it is straight, long, and relatively light inside. This wood has a special quality. It is water resistant. It floats very well. That means it's less likely to sink, and that's why it's perfect for building boats. But you can't just cut wood and hollow it out. You have to shape it. So ancient craftsmen used various tools, like axes, chisels, and even fire. Yes, fire, burning the insides. Then it was rubbed and slowly hollowed out. As complicated as it sounds, it is actually a more perfect technique because fire softens the wood. As a result, the inside can be easily removed. But if you make a mistake, the whole wood is ruined. Nevertheless, this method has made the world's largest and long-lasting boats because they are made from a single piece of wood. There are no joints, no weak points, and that is why they are less damaged in the water. They do not break easily and last for years. Because it is not enough to just be solid wood, it must also be completely waterproof. And this is where the extraordinary intelligence of the original people comes in. They collected various types of resins, gums, pitch from trees. These natural materials were adhesive and waterproof. They were used to seal the small gaps, cracks, and joints of the boat. Where the inside is hollowed out, this sealant was applied to those areas. The result was a perfectly smooth, waterproof surface where water had no chance of getting in. This method not only kept out water, but also protected the wood from rotting. As a result, the boat would last for many years. But Michael's project was not just about building a boat. There is a history behind this, a real human story. A shipwreck survivor, James Morrill. After his ship sank, he spent 42 days on a raft outside the Great Barrier Reef. Then he was rescued. Michael wanted to put himself in the same situation. This challenge was what made him start this whole project. For 14 months, he used the same tools that Morrill had used. So he wasn't just building a boat, he was building an experience. His boat was a double outrigger design, which is a traditional design and a mix of modern Western techniques. The counterweight to this is that it uses the power of the wind to propel the boat forward. But these boats are not just a means of transportation. They are a culture. Wedding ceremonies, initiations, funerals, dedications to ancestors are all associated with these boats.